Hello, welcome to my channel. Today's video is gonna be things I hated about school, because seeing as I've left school now, it's only right to do a list of things I hated about school. So I've written them down here, and yeah, gonna get started. Okay, now I'm gonna start off with uniform. Okay, I know a lot of people didn't like their school uniform, and I know that a lot of people disliked it, and I don't know, people just didn't like it because it wasn't their own clothes. But I hated my uniform because, purely for the fact, my uniform was a blazer, a white shirt, a tie and an ID badge. And you had to wear the ID badge. You could not take it off. You couldn't take your tie off, you couldn't take your lanyard off. You could not walk around the school without your blazer on. I mean, what about when it's hot? I mean, what about when it's cold and you get caught in the rain and your blazer's soaking? You're not allowed to take it off? No? Okay, that's not fair. And the lanyards, the little cards that you get, oh my god, I swear to god, I must have had about 5 or 6 of those throughout my school year because they just break so easy. I absolutely hate them. And let alone the ties break easy too. I've got 2 ties now. I think I've had about like 4 ties. Yeah. Another thing that I hated was the food. The food in school was the same all the time. Every single day of my school life, I ate jacket potato and beans for dinner. Dinner? Yeah. Jacket potatoes and beans and cheese. All the time. That's all I had to eat because there was nothing that I liked. I didn't like the sandwiches because once I had a sandwich and it had a hair in it, so I'm put off by sandwiches, especially from schools. And I don't know, it's all the same all the time. That's all I basically ate, and they didn't do crisps, they didn't do chocolates, they didn't do any sweet things like that. So you kind of just had to eat boring food every single day, the exact same thing. Nothing was nice and nothing was a change. And they didn't even do spaghetti. I was like, I don't like beans, but that's all I had to have because they had a variety of food, but none of it was nice. It was all disgusting. Whereas the jacket potato and cheese and beans, like, you know where you are with that. So yeah, that's what I had every single day of most of my school life. Another thing that I hated was lockers. Oh my god, my locker was about this big, not even lying, this big and about this deep. It was so small, literally, and they broke so easy. It had a little like circle thing, and you like had knobs on, and you put your pin in, and then you twist it. They would break so easy, and you would have people walking past banging them and hitting them and trying to get into other people's lockers, although they couldn't, like, unless they knew your pin. But I didn't not like the lockers because if you went, I couldn't even take my coat in to school when it was raining because the lockers were so small. I had to take like a jacket and then put in the jacket in the locker when it's wet. Okay, that was my mum. Yeah, putting the jackets into the lockers when after it's been raining and coming back to it at the end of the day and pulling it out and it's still being disgustingly wet and stinking of wet dogs. Ew, it was disgusting. Another thing I hated from school was reading. When I'm dyslexic, okay, so I mean a lot of people might think, oh, get over it, you're just reading. I'm dyslexic. Okay, I have a reason to hate reading out loud, and they would not let you not read out loud. It was only until I got into year 10, 11 that they stopped pestering me to read out loud. By then I think they realised that I was never going to do it. And I'm like a really well behaved student. I'm very quiet, I'm very kind of really good, I follow the rules and everything. And as soon as someone would ask me to read out loud or write on the board or something, I would be like, no. And they'd be like, what do you mean no? Do it now. I'd be like, no. Like, I would literally be so stubborn, and if I had to, I would like shout at them, and if I had to, if they still didn't listen, I would get up, storm out of the classroom, because it would make me have panics. And I don't know, it's a different subject. Like, if you're dyslexic, you know what I mean. And yeah, so I hated reading out loud. I hated it. Hate it. Another thing that I hated was the silly rules that they had. Oh my god. Okay, as soon as we moved into the new academy, we weren't allowed to wear like slim trousers. We weren't allowed to have hairbands. We weren't allowed to have brightly coloured hair. We weren't allowed to, what else weren't we allowed to do? There was loads. We weren't allowed to wear trainers. Like, you were allowed to wear trainers, but not branded trainers. You weren't allowed to use, like, share lockers. Like, even if you put, like, one book in someone's locker, you would get in trouble. Like, you weren't, even though I did kind of share a locker at most of my school, yeah. But you weren't allowed to share lockers. You weren't allowed to, like, obviously you weren't allowed to eat in class, but then they also banned chewing gums. So, like, you weren't allowed chewing gums as soon as we moved into the new building, which I understand, but teachers still used to have chewing gums. I'll be like, that's not fair. Why is it one rule for the students and one rule for the adults? Like, it's not fair. And yeah, so they had, my school had so many silly rules. It was just like, what? Seriously, what? And a lot of them were just being made. Like, they weren't always like that. They had just been made. I was just like, you can't do that. Like, what the hell? Another thing was timeout. The timeout room. I don't know if timeout room, exclusion room. Oh my god, can you hear my dogs? They're outside. Okay, yeah, timeout room and exclusion room. They're two different rooms, but I don't know. I had never ever been in the timeout room ever in my whole school life. Never. I got to year 11. Yeah. I had about 3 weeks left, 2-3 weeks left. Yeah, I decided to, in school, I've dyed my hair so many different colours. I've been purple, I've had green, I've had blonde, I've had red, I've had blue, I've had so many different colours, and I decided to dye my hair pink. Oh, what happens to me? And the thing was, it wasn't even this pink, it was blonde with like pink, like baby pink colours in. That's the colour that it was. And I wasn't even allowed it. They put me in timeout room, and I was in there for about 2-3 weeks, or was it 1 or 2 weeks? I don't know if I'm exaggerating, but it was like 2 weeks, I think, 2 weeks or 3, or yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. And they put me in there, and then like me and my mate, we weren't even allowed out, and I was like, what the hell? Like, we've had our hair so many different colours of the rainbow, and we've never been in trouble. And then we got in trouble just because one girl decided to dye this bit of her hair blue. It's like, what? Seriously, what the hell? And I was like, I've only got like 2 weeks left, 2-3 weeks left, and this is really important because of my exams are coming up. And it was like 2-3 weeks left until I leave for exam leave. But no, they didn't decide to let it like slip. They kept me in there. They didn't let me go to lessons. They didn't let me like go to the really important lessons that were like the last recap before your exam lessons. I weren't even allowed to do that. What the hell? And yeah, there was a couple of things that I did like about school. I'm not gonna lie, school isn't like all bad. Now that I've left, I kind of miss a lot of things, but mainly people, that not being able to see people that you see like for 5 years every single day. But yeah, there was also like, there's not really that many things I hated about school, like six things really, but what can you say? Schools isn't something that everyone loves, every single bit of it. Like, people are going to hate things about school, people are going to love things about school, and yeah, they were just some of the things that I hated about school. And yeah, let me know what you hate about school, or you hated about school, or what you thought was silly about school. And yeah, please give this video a thumbs up if you liked, and please do subscribe if you would like to see more of me. Thanks very much for watching. Bye!